Okay, welcome. This is an abs and hips practice. We'll start in all fours position. So that's just hands and knees with the shoulders over the wrists and the hips over the knees. Point your toes back and then warm up your spine. So what that means is cat-cow. So on an exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin in. And as you inhale, arch your back, look forward, maybe even up. And just continue that, moving with your breath. And fairly simple. So exhale is the rounding, inhale is the arching. Start the breath and then start the movement. End the movement and then end your breath. As you go from the two ends of the spectrum, just notice that both of them can tone your core, the end. So in a rounded position where I am about to hit, that's where the front body is in maximum tone and the back body is stretching. And then when you arch the back, it's the opposite, where the back body tones and then the belly stretches. And the back is your core as well. Okay, on your next inhale, just come to a neutral position. And neutral is where there's a slight roundedness in your upper back and a little arch in your low back. Then tuck your toes under and lift your knees to hover away from the floor. So this one's called bear pose. So a challenge with core is, can you engage the front body and back body equally at the same time? So that's, for the most part, maintaining a neutral spine position. And of course, there'll be exercises that go from one or the other and focusing on that a little more. We've got about 10 minutes here in this position. Just kidding. That's a joke that never gets old. Lower your knees down, pause, take a deep breath in, keep your hands exactly as they are, and then just step one foot back and then the other foot back for plank pose. Pausing and holding here. Keep your chin lifted. Actively push your hands down and away from each other. Push your feet away from each other. Holding strong. This is really the challenging arm component of the practice today. So if you're panicking already, it's okay. We'll change. And then take one last deep breath in. And then as you exhale, push to downward facing dog position. So it's the same setup as the hands for plank. Bend your knees though, tilt your sit bones high up into the air, and then push your hands forward. And then push your feet away from each other. Try to broaden and widen your knees and then stretch your legs straighter without compromising the shape of the low back. One last breath in and one last breath out. On your next inhale, just step your right foot forward and lower your back knee down and then rise up. Place your hands to your front thigh. And then just moving your hips forward and back, just for a low lunge position. And essentially thinking of this more as getting into the hips. So pull the feet towards each other and then sink lower into your front knee. Breathing deeply. And we'll eventually go to a twist, but we'll do the other side first. So move your hips back. For the transition, you can even reach your arms forward and wide. And then lift your front foot, one shin balance. Bring your leg back slowly. And then switch. Step your left foot forward, low lunge position. Move your hips forward and back. Keep strength in your legs. Sometimes I get worried that the head is going to get chopped off on the screen. Okay, and then back to the first side. So again, just transitioning. Balancing poses are fantastic for the core because it, of course, builds your strength. Bring your leg back and then switch sides. Go right foot forward and then this time use your right hand. Maneuver your knee towards the left and then hook your elbow over your knee. And then my fave is actually just wrapping my hand around, in this case, the left fist. I know sometimes just because if it's the Instagram live screen, it's backwards. Pretend like I'm mirroring you. And then just move your hips forward and move your hips back. If you feel so inclined that you want to lift your back knee, you're welcome to. That would be by definition probably the only official standing pose that we do. Okay, on an inhale, untwist, forward with your arms. Hey, Michael, and then lift your foot, bring your leg back, and then switch sides. Go left foot forward, hold on to your knee, twist, and you might prefer to just twist a little bit less, having the hold of the knee and hand to hip, or again, hook the elbow to the outside of the knee, join your hands together. Some people spread the wings or go for a deep bind, up to you. If I ever went for the deep bind, I probably want about 90 minutes of practice first. So just know that some people are capable of doing things with very little warm-up, and others can with appropriate warm-up, and then some can't do anything at all. Okay, and then slowly untwist, and then arms forward and wide. Bring your leg back, and then slow as you can, lower down with your hands, all fours position. Move your left knee a little close to the right knee so it's more in the middle of your mat and not necessarily out to the side, but lift your right leg out to the side. And we often call this one dog at a fire hydrant position. So rise onto fingertips. And then it's kind of core-ish, not quite. It's a little bit hip-ish as well because your leg is in an abduction position out to the side and flexion. It's a combination of both. But now create some resistance by lifting your right hand, so it's a balance. Core is getting involved now. Push your knee forward, but resist back. Your hand says, no, this is my time to shine, leg. And the leg's like, well, I want to join. And the hand goes, no. So I'm adding a little bit of drama there with the movements. It's quite subtle. Just push forward, resist back, and move your hips back. Create a slight arch in your low back. And then once you have the arch in the low back, the natural curve, tone and squeeze your abs. Feel them strong. And then lower your knee and lower your hand. Whew. Switch, lift your left leg out. Pause here or go onto fingertips. Option to stay here or lift the hand and then place your hand to the front of the knee. Push the knee forward, resist back, keep your chin lifted. Add more and more resistance as you see fit. It's nice, it's a little bit more of a choose your own adventure. Make it as challenging or as accessible as you want. 3, 2, and 1. And then lower your hand down, lower your knee down, pause. On your next inhale, lift your left leg behind you. You can have your legs straight. And then reach your right arm straight forward. And I think Mallory's on the video. I always just called this one cat-cow variations or all fours variations, but she told me that it actually has a name called bird dog. And then I started going to gym classes and they would be like, okay, we're gonna do bird dog. It's like, oh, bird dog. And it can literally be just holding here. You may benefit more by lifting and lowering. I like to just hold and feel the strength that balance creates. Yeah, heart bird dog. Okay, and then lower your hand, lower your knee, and then lift your right leg and reach your left arm forward. So pause. So sometimes I see people intensify it by going elbow to knee. Again, you could lower and lift. I'm just talking at the same time, so I sometimes like to stay still. And finish for 3, 2, and 1. And then lower your hand, lower your knee, pause. Here, just do some snake eels, and that's where you do cat-cow, but side to side. So just toning and stretching the side of the body, the obliques, part that can sometimes be forgotten if you do a ab exercise. Okay, I think it'll be the same leg here. So lift your right leg back, and then this time go right hand forward and pause and hold. So same arm, same leg, lift forward and back respectively. Hold strong. This one is a lot more challenging to balance. For 3, 2, and 1, and then lower your hand, lower your knee, and switch sides. Lift your left leg back. The trick here is just to lean a little bit to the side. Try your best to keep your hips square, and then extend your left arm forward, holding strong. Keep your chin lifted. Breathe steadily. If you're at home, you're welcome to breathe in and out through your mouth. That has become forbidden in the yoga room just due to risks of COVID-19. Okay, and then go hand down and then knee down, tuck your toes under, send your hips up and back for down dog. You're always welcome to do flows whenever you want. I don't care, I'm not watching you. But we're just going to transition into pigeon pose. It'll be done 3 times, just so you're aware. If you're like rushing to do a version, it will probably join in at some point. But this one is the upright version. So walk the fingers back, pull your knees towards each other, puff up your chest. You can test whether you're in the version if you can lift the hands. So this right hip is actually away from the floor. Front shin at more of a 45-degree angle. So it's all about strength. Eventually lifting the arms up or something to that extent. And then not super long holds. So it's just going to be a switch to the other side, which can be done by just pushing back and then moving the left shin forward. So if you end up looking at versions of pigeon where people are upright, the shin is at a 45-degree angle. It's not parallel to the front edge of the mat. Sometimes that's the thought because that's what people use. That version is called pigeon prep, and it's purely about enhancing the stretch for the hips. If you're not flexible, this version of pigeon is enough for you. And then if you already are at a place where you need to push the stretch further, the question becomes why? Why do you need to go even further in the stretch? At what point does it seem ridiculous when the body can go too far? Again, Tess, could you lift your arms up? Ooh. Okay, and then back to the first side. This will be the relaxing version. So just exactly the same thing. Up to you to point your back toes or keep them tucked. Sometimes I keep them tucked just to remind me to stay active. Lower down onto your elbows. I'll cut into yoga teacher voice here. Breathe deeply. Relax all the way. Feel the emotions in your hips, like the sounds of the waves in the ocean. Breathe. Okay, second side. Hope that was relaxing. And then go left leg forward and then lower down onto the elbows. So keeping the left hip slightly lifted, the legs staying a little bit engaged. They're not loosey-goosey, but you're not necessarily straining. And then relax like a pigeon who ate too much bread that was given to them by a passerby who didn't realize that bread is inappropriate to feed any bird, and instead they should be given oats or birdseed or French fries. Okay, a little bit of an interlude. Just move back to sitting on your heels. This one's called Bharavajrasana. I apologize if I'll be backwards to my lefts and rights just because the screen can sometimes be backwards. But on this one, it'll be lean forward, move your feet to your right, and then nestle the right ankle into the arch of the left foot. And then sit back so that you're on your left sit bone, but not your right. And I'll just turn so that I'm looking this way now. So then the twist is right hand to the outside of the left thigh and twist to your left. And this one is a nice twist, seated twist, because it almost essentially puts you in a natural curve state for your low back as you twist. It's one of the most healthy seated twists that you can find. Sometimes seated twists end up in a rounded position. Okay, and then back to center, lean forward, and then just switch sides. So the feet pivot over to the left ankle goes into the arch of the right foot, and then lower your right hip down. There is a version where you'd put your left hand underneath your knee like that. There's a version where you'd reach your right arm behind you, hold your bicep, and do that. That's too hard. I'm just doing the basic version. Bharabhadrasana, which is just the name of a sage. It doesn't have a great name, so we'll call it seated side twist. Okay, and then return to center, hands down, and then push back. The abs are coming. Oh, don't you worry. Slide your right shin forward. It'll be after this, and then a quick transition to set ourselves up for abs. Yogi's choice, so two choices. It'll be lower down onto your elbows, and then up to you to twist to the left or the right. So you can twist to the foot side of your front leg. So this is an example of me twisting to the left. I like that one a little bit. If you're quite flexible and you are getting your shin parallel to the front, you could hook the bottom of your foot. But my preference is actually to twist towards the side of the front leg, similar to the low lunge twist. So same thing, I like to make the fist with the lower hand, use the other hand as leverage for the twist, and then hold here. It's just nice to have choice. You could always do both. Some might even prefer to reach back and grab hold of your foot behind you. Okay, to come out of the pose, one is just crash. The more appropriate is to bring your right hand down first if you're in my version, or the left in the other one, whatever the upper hand is. Push so you can balance yourself, and then just switch legs. So left leg forward, get strong in the legs, keep the strength lower onto your elbows, and then decide to twist. So again, some of you may be literally able to get your elbow to the bottom of your foot. I've got a long way to go. I need either bigger feet, don't we all wish, or a bigger elbow, which I don't think we all wish. So I'll just twist to the front leg side. When we get into our core series, I got my watch set at 20 seconds. So there's going to be 2 sets throughout that will be 6 ab exercises that we're going to do 3 times through at 20 seconds. So it'll be 6 minutes straight of abs. And then we'll do 2 of those. So there'll be a little bit of a break with some seated poses between the 2 sets. Make sense? No? Yeah, that's okay. Slowly untwist, and then push your way back to down dog. Step the feet in just a little bit, but then open the feet wide and turn them out, and then bend your knees deep, and then position yourself for a squat pose. So elbows to the inside of the knees, hands together, push the elbows out, squeeze the knees in, holding strong, and then crash down onto your bum. It'll help to position yourself, we'll say, nearish the front of your mat. Okay, we ready? You can always adjust as needed and modify as needed. I might give some examples along the way. So seated, lift your feet. Timer begins. You'll hear the watch at the 20-second mark. Timer there just to hold everyone accountable. Holding strong, keep your chin lifted. And breathe deeply. Next one is Russian twist. This is where you could use a block and you can just go side to side. If you have a weight that you want to use, you can do that. If it's ever tough on your psoas, your hip flexors, you can just lower your heels like I'm doing. So no pressure. No one's going to get upset at you. We don't have any helicopter parents lurking over you. Okay, and then lie on your back and then flutter kicks, which is just lifting one leg up and down while the other leg goes up and down a little bit off to it. This first round will be just figuring it out, and then we'll do probably quick transitions. Cup the back of your head, bend your knees, and then curl up right elbow to left knee and left elbow to right knee. So bicycle crunches, you start to add the bicycle movement of your legs, which isn't really true for me anymore because I have an e-bike, so my bicycle movements are just this with my thumb. Okay, heel touches, a little bit of a body break, feet down like bridge, and then just going side to side, touching your heels. Again, not forgetting about our friends, the obliques. As some folks call them, the love handles. Just a nice expression. Okay, and then the final one is just crunches. Just what you do in gym class way back in the day. You might want to reach through your legs for what is called reach throughs. And that's it. That's all 6 of them. So this is the first cycle. And then we're going through 2 more. So hold the back of your thighs, rock up to boat, and pause. 20 seconds here. You're always welcome to keep the support of your thighs and extend your legs straighter, or just keep the knees bent. You can go without any support. Again, option to straighten your legs as well, up to you. And then if you want the block to go side to side, you're welcome to do that. Tap down on the floor, upset the downstairs neighbor. Gotta do it just a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, and then flutter kicks, lie on your back, and then flutter your legs. So up and down, you can go really low to the ground. Ooh, that's intense. You can always have the knees bent. I go knees bent just because it's better for my body. You can go slow, methodical, or really quick. And then bicycle crunches. To go from flutter kicks to bicycle crunches is intense. So good news, it's only 20 seconds. Keep it up. You got this. Can't wait for heel touches. Oh, so nice. Okay, heel touches. Feet down, side to side. A little bit more difficult. Look between your legs. Also more difficult, just move your feet further and further away. So you have to reach further. And then setting up for last one, crunches. You may prefer to do sit-ups. I'm not a big fan of sit-ups. Crunches can be quite intense, even just pausing and holding low and lowering down. So don't underestimate that by doing more in terms of quantity, that you're going to get more out of it. Sometimes quality is more important. Slowly rise up and then boat pose. Again, it's nice to offer support, up to you. Your choice, look forward, arms out, add some flair. Breathing deep, setting yourself up. Again, you could grab a block or not and just going side to side. Don't underestimate giving the body a break and dropping your heels down just to focus on the core and not necessarily on the hip flexors. If the hip flexors are like, hey, this hurts, and abdominals are like, I'm supposed to be doing the work, then just adjust. Flutter kicks. Up and down, up and down. Think of yourself swimming, a really bizarre way of swimming. Go low, you can go pretty wide with the legs, up and down. Focusing primarily on the lower abs. That's the hard part. That's where you get into the 8-pack. And then hold the backs of your, feet down, and then go, oh, I'm missing out. Bicycle crunches. I was wanting it to end right away. I was like, that's it for me. And then heel touches. Boy, it's so much more difficult when I do at the same time. When I teach, I don't actually do. There's a saying that those who can't do, teach. And then finally crunches or sit-ups. This is the last one. And then we're done. This round. And then those who can't teach gym class. Which, if you can remember back to high school, is partly true. Okay, and then rock yourself up to seated. Nicely done. That's round one. And now it's the body break abs. I just like to sit up onto a block because I don't have the hip flexibility that a lot of you have. But Baddha Konasana, bring the bottoms of your feet together and open your knees out wide. Bound angle pose, sometimes called butterfly pose or cobbler's pose if you're working on shoes. In fairness to gym teachers, I have a teaching degree, and in my practicums, I taught grade 8 gym in actually both of them. So in one I did badminton, and the other I was teaching basketball and yoga. So there you go. Kids learn yoga now. In Baddha Konasana, push your feet together and try to widen your knees out. So not necessarily focus on them going down, but just wide out to the side. You can stay upright or bow forward slightly. As our recover from the abs. Hope everyone's still hanging in there. Okay, and then bring the knees up a little bit. Slide the left foot underneath the right leg so it comes to the outside of your right hip, and then step your right foot over your left thigh. Setting up for Ardha Matsyendrasana, half Lord of the Fishes pose. You can actually just twist as simple as this, just holding the knee, hand behind you, or wrap the inner elbow around the knee, or hook your elbow, or even go for a bind. I'm not going to show that one because I'm happy just wrapping here. This is a pose that can actually be quite powerful if you pay attention. And by paying attention, I mean ground down, in this case through the right foot, the leg that's over. Pull the heel back, but resist with your lower thigh. And then use your arm to pull your thigh bone down into the hip socket so you lift up taller, but resist back by pushing your knee out into your arm, and then use that strength you've developed in your legs to lift your spine tall and twist from left to right. Sometimes it's just nice to think that the hips hold the ocean of emotions. Okay, and then turn to center and just switch legs. So it goes right leg under left, and then left leg up and over. Again, it may be just here holding the knee that gives the hip opener. For some, it's a twist and that's it. For others, it's primarily a hip opener and a little bit of twist. All right, we had Conrad's participation. How old is Conrad, Steph? There's 3 smiley faces. Lifting up tall. Again, push your foot down, pull it back, resist with your thigh, lift your spine tall, and twist from right to left. Okay, and then turn to center, uncross the legs and just have them out in front of you. And then recross, but making an X with your legs, so crossing mid-shin for a pose called Sukhasana. So it's looking like that. Let's show here. I'm pretty pathetic on this position. If you can get your right shin completely stacked over your left shin like that, you're welcome to do that. That's called fire log or double pigeon, Agni Shtambhasana. Yeah, if you're like me, this is intense enough already. I could put weights on my knees and my legs don't go down any further. And this is being helped by being on a block. If I wasn't on a block, my knees would actually be above my shoulders. So this is just the pose right here to just pause and hold here. This is often a seated position for meditation. Extra option if you want to twist, it'll be twist to the lower leg side, or in Sukhasana, the shin that's closer to you. So if my right shin is on top in fire log or in front, then it's twist to the left. If you're in fire log, you may have the capacity to both forward fold and twist and hook your right foot with your right elbow as you twist. So getting complicated there. If you don't understand, just don't do that. If you do understand, you're like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Surprisingly, this pose is called easy pose. Easy for some, not for all. Okay, and then untwist if you twist it, and then just switch to the other side. So either the other shin on top or the other shin forward. So it should be, just for the sake of adding the twist, have the left shin forward of the right shin or stacked on top. So I'll do a face the camera on this one. And it's easy pose. Again, I don't come anywhere close to getting my legs down. There's a pose called Siddhasana where the heels are in front of the pubic bone. That one I can do. That's easy. That's no problem at all. But keeping the knees narrow is very tough. Lifting up tall, option to go left hand to the right knee, lifting, twisting to the right, or leaning forward and hooking your elbow. Especially if you have the fire log, you can hook the left foot with the left elbow. Can you believe we're still going to do another 6-minute run through of abs? That's going to be intense. Okay, and then back to center. And then now go wide leg position. So open your legs wide. I've just turned so that I don't go into the wall, and then hinge forward. Deep breath in. And then deep breath out. Hinge forward could be have your hands beside your hips as you lean forward. Hinge forward can also be forehead to the floor in between your legs. So there's a wide gap in terms of abilities here. And there's also a wide gap in the width that you can get your legs as well. Okay, and then come up and then pull the legs in. I'm just gonna face the regular forward again and use the strap on this one. So this is just legs together, forward fold, bow forward, Paschimottanasana, sunset pose, which if you're living in Victoria or Vancouver in BC these days, sunset is like at 4:45. It's gonna be a dark, dark winter. The nice thing about the strap is you can pull and resist as you hinge forward. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Okay, and then come up. And if you are on a block, it might help to come off of the block momentarily here. But hands behind you. You can go fingers forward. You can go fingers face back. I like to just go fingers out to the side, more middle ground. And then same with the legs. You could have legs straight. I'm just going to go with the knees a bit bent here, but this will be sunset pose. So feet down and then lifting the hips up. You can look forward, you can look up, or you can look back. Up to you. For 3, 2, and 1. And then come to have a sit. Okay, then sitting up tall. Round 2 of abs begins. So sitting tall. Lift one leg, lower it, lift the other leg, lower it, and just continue that. You're always welcome to make this more challenging by making fists and lifting your hips as you do this up and down, up and down, up and down. Did I really put the timer on? I did. Okay. Whew. And then now half boat. Cup the back of your head, tuck your chin in, lean back, and lift your heels to hover away from the floor. Hold strong here. Push your big toes forward, pull your other toes back, dig deep. You got this. And then lie all the way onto your back and crisscross your feet one over the other. So just keep the switch. You can go low, you can go high, you can go fast, you can go slow, you can be straight legs, you can be knees bent. Up to you, just lots of options. And then next one, hands to the front of your thighs. I have the power pose. Push your legs away, but your legs resist, similar to what you did, that kind of dog at a fire hydrant position earlier on in all fours. So push the legs away, the legs push back into the hands. Feel your abdominals get stronger with a slight lift of your low back, and then lower your feet. Lift your hips up and lower them down. For glute bridges, again, we're gonna do this 2 more times, this cycle. On the second run through of this one, you can isolate just to one leg specifically, and you'll feel your glutes getting pretty strong there. And then last one, both legs up into the air, and then bring both feet down and relift both legs. And just continue that. The legs, again, can be straight, could be knees bent. You could cup the back of your head as you do this, or hold over top of yourself. Okay, and then rock yourself up. And then straight legs, lift one leg, lower it, lift the other leg, lower it, continue up and down, up and down. That's one cycle. Good news is that the final poses are all going to be on the back. Okay, and then half boat, cup the back of your head, tuck your chin, round your spine, lift your heels to hover. This one's so intense, makes you want to have crisscross come back, start offering shows again, because crisscross makes you want to jump, hold strong, half boat, and then crisscross. Whew. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking of starting to wear my clothes backwards for the winter, just to change things up again. I feel like we're going back in time. Crisscross lower. You can add some funky moves. Okay, I have the power. Push the legs away from you. This one's He-Man inspired, when He-Man grabs a sword and screams, "I have the power." But I have the power because you have the power to make this as challenging as you want by pushing as hard as you want with your legs away from you and resisting back as much as you want. Okay, glute bridges. Option to isolate with one leg. So I've got the right leg lifted. It could be all the way up or knee bent, but the focus is on the left butt doing the work, lifting up and lowering down. Up, down, up, down, and then both legs up and down. You want to add a little bit more intensity, bend your knees into your chest, and then thrust your hips up as you extend the legs up when you come up. I don't know if I can talk and do these at the same time. Rock all the way up, sitting tall, lift and lower one leg, then the other leg. Again, option to go into fists. I know a few students who can hover the legs the whole time and just kick the legs up and down like the flutter kicks we did in that earlier set. Okay, half boat. Tuck your chin, hold the back of your head, lean back, lift your heels to hover. This is the one where time stands still. Hold strong, keep everything in, dig deep, last 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and then lie on your back, crisscross, switch. I was doing a double, 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 triple. The triple, I could do the double, I couldn't do the triple. Double, 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 double. Okay, I have the power. Push the legs away from you, resist back. You could even push the inner edges of your feet together. Hold strong. Whew, 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 whew. Getting ready for your other leg. If you did the glute lifts. So just switching. So you have your other leg in the air, lifting and lowering your hips. I once did a class where you had to do 50 of these on one side before doing the other side. And I legit said, no, I'm going to balance out my body and do like 5 or 10 at a time. Okay, and then lift both legs up and down. This is it. This is the end of the ab section. Again, you can thrust the hips up. Okay, and then hug the knees in for supine balasana. So just reclined child's pose. Whew. That's pretty intense. And then just slowly transition, so you're holding your knees over your hips for freedom pose. Pose where you're essentially in all fours with the legs, but upside down, guiding your thigh bones into your hip socket. And then now cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Slide the right hand through the gap of the legs. Hold to the top of your shin. And then just switch to the other side. So just winding things down. Essentially a version of pigeon pose. It's also even a bit of a version of Ardha Matsyendrasana without the twist. Okay, and then bring your left foot down like bridge pose and grab hold of your right foot for half happy baby pose. You can hold with both hands if you want. You're welcome to extend your left leg straighter. It's actually quite intense. I prefer just having the left knee bent, and you can do more of a bow and arrow action where you pull back with the foot and resist up, and continue that a few times. Okay, and then switch. Hold on to your other foot, pull down, push up, pull down, push up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, and then release that leg. Lift your right leg straight up, hold the back of your thigh. This is before you could extend your left leg straight, up to you. And then if you have bent your knee like I'm demonstrating, just straighten your leg now. Bend your lifted leg, the right knee. Hold your knee with your left hand, and then a gentle twist here. The leg goes over to the left, look to the right. Okay, and then back to center. And switch. Lift your left leg up, hold the back of the thigh. Keep your chin lifted. If your knee is bent, pull your foot down and drag it back. If your leg is straight, dig the heel down as you lift the left leg higher. And then now straighten your right leg if it's not already. Bend your left knee, twist the other direction. So the leg goes to the right, your eyes go to the left, the torso goes to the left. So it's a twist to the left, even though the legs go to the right. Okay, come all the way up. Give yourself one final squeeze. And then just a short minute or so in Shavasana for a final resting position. In particular, feel the effect of the hip openers with your legs and how they rest now. You might feel that they can flop to the sides a little bit easier. And then also notice any extra work in your core area. Begin to breathe deeply with control as you slow down your breath and your thoughts. Take a big breath in and then sigh it out. Move your head side to side, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Slowly roll over to one side before rising up to a tall seated position. Once you arrive, please join your hands together in front of your heart. Take a deep breath in and exhale it out. Namaste. Okay, thanks.